Welcome to BizTech's Technology Show, where we feature tech companies that are innovating and transforming the technology landscape. Today's featured companies are Ripple and Tranglo. Now, our guests today to enlighten us on what they do and an interesting opportunity that they've come across, we have Brooks Entwistle, Managing Director of Southeast Asia at Ripple, and Jacky Lee, CEO at Tranglo. Welcome to the show, Brooks and Jacky.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Brian. Hey, Jacky. It's great to be here with both of you. Thanks for having us.
Now, both Ripple and Tranglo are in the business of simplifying cross-border payments. Could you start by telling us what your business does, Brooks and Jacky?
Absolutely. We are very excited to be here to talk to this audience. We are a global technology company. Ripple is a global technology company facilitating payments across the world. We work in over 55 countries. We have hundreds of partners that we work with, and we are really looking for frictionless, seamless transitions of money across border, and that is what we are all about. It's out of our Singapore headquarters here for Southeast Asia. This is an incredibly important region for us, but we wouldn't be anywhere with partners or investments that we make, and that's why we're so excited to be here with Jacky today and tell the Tranglo story as well.
Now, Jacky, before I get to you, I'm going to ask Brooks this because a lot of people have challenges understanding this. Could you make a distinction, Brooks, between Ripple and XRP, and so that we can just frame the conversation?
Absolutely. Ripple is a global technology company with people based all around the world. XRP is a digital asset that's on a public ledger, and the two are separate. And we are excited about building use cases and businesses around the world that may be a part and use the XRP ecosystem. But Ripple at its core is an exciting technology company, and we love the region.
Now, Ripple has been mired with a little bit of controversy in the last couple of months because of the lawsuit with the SEC. Could you kind of help us understand the controversy behind it, and where are you at the moment in terms of this lawsuit?
We are working with the SEC now. The lawsuit is in process. We're in discussions. It's important to note, Brian, and Jacky knows as well, that we are working closely with regulators all over the world, including importantly here in the region, where regulators have been leaning forward and been supportive in their regimes around cryptocurrency and digital assets. We do think that the US is a fantastic market if the regulations are cleared up and cryptocurrencies and digital assets can thrive. And so we will continue these discussions. We do think our case is sound. So importantly, we are pushing forward. But from where I sit as the managing director of our APAC business, we are in discussions with and excited to work with regulators here who are really pushing out and forward to create ecosystems in markets from Singapore to Japan to Malaysia to Thailand and elsewhere that are crypto and digital asset friendly. Hence the build here.
Brooks, so one of the reasons I wanted to ask you this was the SEC controversy was really the fact that we need to highlight the fact that governments around the world are grappling with how to deal with the innovation. So by default, you are going to have lawsuits in different jurisdictions and stuff like that, which people will, and innovators like yourself will, of course, encounter.
That's exactly right. We prefer to operate in an environment where the regulations are clear, everybody's playing by the same rules, and it's known, and then we can go after it. Investment happens, deals happens. Ultimately, the consumers benefit from that. It's places where regulations are unclear or not settled, where it tends to be the most difficult to operate. And in previous technology businesses that I've been responsible for around the region, that was also true. If you were regulated, you knew the rules of the road and you could really run hard. If you weren't, it was more difficult in those environments. And I think the places that were under-regulated or more nebulous were the ones that were hurt in the long term.
Now, Jacky, over to you. Tell us a little bit about Tranglo and its history in Malaysia, because you were one of the early pioneers in this space way back in 2008.
Yeah, I mean, Tranglo started in 2008 with the founder named Mr. Sia, right? So I joined Tranglo about 6 years ago.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, Tranglo started with the airtime business, which is the airtime transfer. And subsequently, we moved into the payment space. So Tranglo is a payment aggregator, or we better known as an international remittance hub. So we allow business partners to quickly access to all the cross-border payments, especially the Asia Pacific region and the Southeast Asia. So currently, we have a payout in 22 countries. We are licensed in Malaysia, Singapore, UK, and also Indonesia.
Now, Brooks, could you then tell us in terms of Ripple, give us an example in order for our audiences to understand how to use your service, both of your services. Walk us through some specific examples of how customers use your products and services.
Absolutely, Brian. Let me give you a very personal example. A couple of weeks ago, a lady that's very close to our family, who is from the Philippines, but here in Singapore with us, had a medical emergency that was related to COVID, of course, and needed to get money back to the Philippines as soon as possible. I went down with her to BKK Forex, who is a Ripple Net partner, and we were able to send money across that remittance channel that was paid out in her local village on the other side of that. BKK is a Ripple client and customer, and someone that we feel very close to and have been building that corridor with. And that money was delivered, and the medical bills were paid and the services were rendered. And if you think about the region we operate in, we believe not only remittances in, but there's remittances and other flows throughout the region. We want to be a part of this, and there's no more exciting place than Southeast Asia, but the reasons we do it are real, and we can talk more about that later.
Now, Jacky, could you then give us some perspectives of how customers use your services in Malaysia and also the rest of Southeast Asia?
I mean, customers who work with Tranglo are basically the sending partner, okay? What a sending partner means, they are licensed remittance company.
Okay,
so,
give us some examples of licensed remittance companies in the region.
So I mean, respective countries, they have licensees, right? Remittance licensees. So what we do is we will only work with licensees. So with a single API connectivity with Tranglo, they can send up to 22 countries, most of them in real time. Real time, I mean in a couple of minutes, the beneficiary will receive their money. And we not only cover account deposit, but we cover also cash pickup, e-wallet, and so on. So from A to B, right, means that the sender to the beneficiary, it only takes a couple of seconds, you receive the money.
Okay. Now, Brooks, could you give us some perspectives in terms of some of the corporate solutions you have versus the consumer solutions that you've just talked about?
Absolutely, and it's an important transition and segue to why we're so excited about the Tranglo partnership, because a product we've developed called on-demand liquidity, ODL, is the ability for this process that we've been describing of transferring money across borders to speed up, to have the cost come down, the security be about as good as you can have it, and be something that's even environmentally friendly to do it. And so we feel very strongly about this, and one of the things that we're going to work closely with our partners at Tranglo on is developing that across corridors. So if you think about ODL and the notion of transferring money, say, to the Philippines, which is one of the first corridors that we're going to work with Tranglo on, among several to come, it is a much quicker process. So the notion of transferring local currency into XRP, and then XRP settling across the ledger to another jurisdiction or country and immediately being paid out. The friction that takes out of the system is incredible, and we think is the future of how money can be transferred quickly. And Jacky and the team, and our teams are working closely daily with steercos. Our teams are synced up, making this a reality. So we're very excited about where these use cases we've been talking about go in the future around ODL. And it does make it very interesting. Yes, we're talking about remittances and consumers, but clearly small businesses moving money across borders, there's also very compelling arguments there as well.
Now, Brooks, what was the thinking behind the acquisition of the 40% stake in Tranglo?
First of all, we have known the Tranglo team for many years. We had partnered before, and that's obviously an important first step in any kind of relationship and deeper investment. We knew what Jacky and the team were capable of, and the reach that they had, and the ability to kind of deliver across multiple markets. And they also were people that we believed could really help us take this next generation product, ODL, into these markets. And so, and we've done this, in other places, but we have the opportunity to invest in our ecosystem. We want to do that. We want to invest in the region. And so this is a great company and a great investment opportunity. I'm going to go on the board. I'm honored to do that and to serve there. Amir Sahrangi, who is our VP of product, will also take a board seat. And we are putting people against this to make the reality of this partnership and investments work. And
what was this investment amount in Tranglo?
We don't disclose investment amounts around this, as you can appreciate, given your show. But suffice it to say that we're excited about both parties doing well by this.
Jacky, what were the motivations for the Tranglo owners to sell a substantial stake like this to Ripple?
My view is there's always a big synergy, right, working with Ripple. Of course, we look at liquidity. I mean, liquidity is one of the key elements, right? So how to solve this liquidity? So I think working with Ripple, all right, using the ODL facilities, right? I think this gives a lot of our remittance partner able to scale in a bigger way. So by scaling our partners, it simply means that it's growing Tranglo's business as well. Okay. So I think it is really solving a big liquidity issues in the market.
Over to you, Brooks. Can you just give us an insight into the overall payment landscape? Because there's so many competitors that you have in this space. Just kind of give us a perspective of where the opportunities are and where you see you got competing.
It is a developing landscape, and no place is developing faster than in Southeast Asia, where we're all sitting today. And there are partners, and if you think about just the Ripple network and who's on the Ripple network, it's people from banks like Siam Commercial Bank, SBI in Japan, American Express, TP Bank in Vietnam, and then a whole series of fintech companies that are really pushing the envelope on development are also part of our network. Novati in Australia, we've talked a lot about Tranglo, many other examples around the world and around the region. And so that is an important piece of this, is we're pulling all of these players in the ecosystem around the world together on a network to make the movement of money and value seamless and frictionless across these. And so we want to do this in a place where, again, we've talked about regulations. They've got to be forward-leaning. Innovation, the companies being invested in, creation here in the region is incredible. And we want to partner with more people like Tranglo that are building exciting businesses right here and learning. But at the end of the day, we just think there is a fantastic opportunity in the Internet of Value, which is what we believe we're going after here right now, is getting value to move efficiently across the Internet.
Now, Jacky, what do you think the execution challenges are going to be now with your new shareholders on board?
I mean, I don't take this as a challenge, but I think it's a greater opportunity. I think we understand what Ripple is doing. I think definitely Tranglo can come in with synergy value for both parties.
Now, Brooks, Southeast Asia has also a very large unbanked and underbanked population. Now, what are your views on how the fintech sector can help promote financial inclusion, particularly in this post-COVID recovery?
It's an incredibly important question, and candidly, one of the reasons I was most excited about joining Ripple. I have lived for many years in India. I worked in Cambodia for the UN in the early 90s here in the region before I started my financial services career. I have always looked at this region as an opportunity to go after the mass population, to bring them into the financial system. And the Ripple opportunity that we're after here is just so real and so big. But if we go back to the example of of people transferring money back to their home market in the remittance form. Oftentimes, people that are doing this don't have bank accounts, are paying exorbitant fees to move that money, have uncertainty about whether or not that money is actually getting back to their family and the folks that need it. And so we want to be able to play in this, to enhance this, and to make sure that we're doing our part. And I'll give you a deal example, because we're doing deals around this and partnerships. Mobile Money, which is in Malaysia, and Jacky knows well, is a mobile wallet company. We partnered with them and with Bcash to open that corridor for Bangladeshi migrant workers that are in Malaysia and needing to send money back on that. That was a January announcement this year. We're very excited about those sorts of partnerships that open up these corridors that are most in need of this kind of dream that we all have, which is to get more people included in the financial system, bank more efficiently, and the ultimate value and money to where it needs to go as soon as possible.
Now, final question, gentlemen, and it's an open question to either one of you. How do you see the global payments landscape evolving, especially in this area of underbanked and unbanked? Because that's a huge opportunity.
I mean, my take is definitely the outlook is very, very good. Because, I mean, post-COVID, right, we can see a lot of brick and mortar business has moved into digital channel. And what does it translate? It translates to a lot of digital payment as well. So in reality, right, once businesses have moved into tech in nature, then the global payment business will definitely spike in the next 1 or 2 years. And before it will still continue to grow.
How about yourself, Brooks?
I would totally agree. And because we look at this on a global scale, and we're obviously huge believers in this region, and which is why we're continuing to hire people. We've added 5 people to our team this week alone in Singapore in this office. It's an incredible place to be. But if you think about Latin America and Mexico and Brazil, markets around the world where digital payments have moved very quickly, they may be going through difficult times with COVID, but coming out on the other side of this, the world will be even more digital, and the ability for people and the desire for people and companies to move this money quickly plays right into what we're trying to do at RippleNet, and trying to create this ecosystem around where XRP could be a big part of that through on-demand liquidity.
Now, gentlemen, it's been a fascinating conversation. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Jacky.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you.
Now, I'm Brian Fernandez. I've been speaking to Brooks Entwistle, Managing Director, Southeast Asia of Ripple, and Jacky Lee, CEO of Tranglo, on BizTech's Technology Show. This video will be on our Facebook and LinkedIn sites, as well as our website, www.biztech.asia. Please subscribe and like our various platforms. Thank you for tuning in.